Daily doubles is always a challenge for any team, and for us, it's not only the physical challenge, the mental challenge, but was trying to get new guys integrated with the returning players, and I think we've got a lot accomplished there. Right now, the bodies are pretty sore, but mentally, I thought they were pretty tough going through the schedule. Got up early in the morning and went for a nice little run about 6:30, and came back, a little breakfast, and then out for our first training session at 10, and then night capped it at 4, and then we have a little classroom chalk talk. So I think they've done really well, and we're progressing where we need to be right now. Well, I think the exhibition games are they serve many purposes. The first purpose, I think, for the guys to play somebody other than themselves. I think there's an excitement anytime they get lace it up against another team. So I think there's a piece there for the guys. They've certainly worked hard enough to have that opportunity. For the coaching staff, we're looking at partnerships and pairs and see what meshes. Looking at different formations based on the personnel. We're trying to get a handle on what these guys can bring to the table and what they can do as far as putting different lineups based on what we're going to be facing after the exhibition season. Well, I tell you what, I've been very pleased with the goalkeeping core. Coach Adam Pierce, who's our goalkeeper coach, has been very positive about the goalkeeping core right now, and it helps to have a fifth-year senior in there. Steve's had the opportunity to train this summer with some MLS teams, and that's always an eye-opening experience. And I think he's brought some of that professionalism back to the group. We've got returner Clint Long, who's a redshirt freshman last year, so he has a little bit of experience under his belt, played in the spring game. And then we have two outstanding young goalkeepers, Matt Persano and Andrew Glazer. Those four are really pushing each other, and that's what you really want with a goalkeeping core, is that they're pushing each other. Very positive competition, but I can see the level getting higher and the confidence getting greater with that bunch. Well, it's great to see guys like Chris Harms back healthy. You know, Chris last year made a valiant effort to come back during the conference play at 50%, and I know it was hard on him and it was hard on us, but his leadership, being a redshirt junior this year, is immeasurable. And then you've got juniors and Travis Anderson at outside back, and Jake Parker at outside back. So you've got some experience back there, which you need to have that experienced back line. And then we're going to have a number of guys battling for other spots. John Swenson, he's as a senior, he's been there, done that. He's certainly going to give it a go there. Redshirt freshman Brendan Anderson has shown some pretty decent minutes. We've got some newcomers. We've got Michael Lamb, who is from Sunderland, England, played with the Sunderland Premiership Academy side, and has got massive experience. I mean, he's seen it at the highest level. And then we've got Brandon Brockway from Seattle area, Tacoma. He's had some excellent time with the Seattle Sounders Academy team. So you got a bunch of guys that are really going to be pushing each other. Outside backs, you got Chase Reskowski, redshirt freshman from last year, naturally left-sided player, and Josh Smith on the right side. So I think I feel good about the progress, but when you get into the games, you really get a chance to see what they're about when it gets into live ammunition. Midfielders, I think that's an area that's still developing, to be honest, especially in the center. We have Will Seymour, who's a freshman but came in the spring, and I think that is going to prove to be very, very positive for us, because his spring he was able to play the schedule without burning a year, and his first game was against Portland Timbers. So his bar is pretty high as far as what he has seen so far at Oregon State. And then next to him, there's a couple of the pieces that we're still going to take a look at. Alex Eckerson, who played some good minutes there last year as a freshman, is certainly going to provide competition. Miguel Murillo was a redshirt freshman last year, so he's going to provide some competition. And so that center midfield spot is an area that I think will develop over time. Out wide, I think that could be one of our stronger areas right now. With the return of Colin Mitchell, 2009 he was the second leading goal scorer and was out last year, medical redshirt. And Colin is so far feeling pretty good health-wise. He's certainly got an appetite to compete, because he's, you miss a full year, you appreciate those opportunities just a little bit more. So you got guys like Colin Mitchell, Roberto Farfan. These are guys that are dynamic attacking players that I think that with that combination is going to prove to ask a lot of questions of defenses in the Pac-12. And then we've got a number of players. Alex Penny, who's a junior, I think you'll see him coming off the bench and coming off the bench with experience. I think that's, when you look at depth, you always like to have that depth, but if that depth also has some years under the belt, I think that's going to be very, very positive. Brandon Hansen, potentially at an attacking midfield spot, going to be a sophomore. So still a pretty young team, not as young as last year, but we're still on our way. But it's nice to see that midfield bunch solidify. We lose two seniors from last year at the forward spot, but we've got a new look, as you've said, and I feel pretty excited about it. Still, we've got some things to do. We've got ways to go to kind of get things gelled together, but talent-wise, we feel pretty good at this particular point. Emery Welshman, transfer student from Toronto. So far in practice, he's shown that he's got a knack. He's very explosive, and he can play in small spaces. Sometimes forwards, they have one thing on their mind, which is just scoring goals, which is fine. But he's also able to set up other players, which is very unique. Kyrie Shelton, national team player. Kyrie's we're working him in slowly. He's coming in with a pre-existing injury from his last trip with the national team in Portugal in May, but we're getting him worked in nice and slow, and you can tell he's got a lot of tools in his toolbox and superior vision of how he plays. Glenn Payton is a freshman, another freshman from the Seattle Sounders Academy. He offers something different. He's big and strong, and he's very good in the air. Great feet for a big man. A lot of times the bigger guys will struggle with touch, but great feet, can combine with players, and he can find the back of the net. He's a finisher. And then we've got Dan Van Vliet from last year. He's going to be a sophomore this year, returning. There's more maturity in his game. You can already tell. He's a very powerful, athletic player. And then Michael Reckmeyer, who is from Lincoln, Nebraska, another big, strong, corn-fed Midwest boy he's got very, very good feet, and we're seeing some progress from him. But yeah, it's a new look, and I think that our attack is going to hopefully ask a lot of questions of some defenses that we're going to play this year. The excitement is pretty real. I think from a coaching perspective, I'm always cautious about that. I've got to, I want the guys to be in the middle. To kind of take away the peaks and the troughs so they can stay steady, because it's a rigorous campaign. You can go into this season with the schedule that we're playing, and if you do well at the beginning, it doesn't mean that it's going to be that way all the time, just because we've got the conference ahead of us. And if you don't do well, it doesn't mean it's going to be that all the way, because we're a new team. We're trying to get things together. So I want the guys to be excited. I think there is a genuine excitement in the camp, for sure, all the way around. Very, very positive. But at the same time, I want them to be consistent, because that consistency is the piece, I think, that can get you through conference play the way you want to, and ultimately get us to where we want to be an NCAA tournament contender.